adding value to people, and he's taking the time to understand what it is they want, and in turn they're giving him the time, you know. So again, reciprocation of value, it suits both people, right? Hey guys, so it's Gavin here from Pro Commerce Capital, and I'm joined today by Mike Davis. So where do you think you can take this? What's the real objective in terms of scale for you?
Well, I mean, I can take it as big as I want to take it. I mean, and that's the whole purpose for automation.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be able to, of course, you know, I bring the clients in, I get it submitted to the lender, and then, you know, like the processes that y'all have in place, pretty much you're done then. Yep. Which keeps you freed up. You know, yep. You've got the online automation, bringing in new clients. I'm out trying to reach out to do face-to-face meetings, and you know, in the long run, without a doubt, it will pay dividends. You know, you might get lucky. You know, you hear about, I know like some of your videos where you've had people sign on to you, and then 3 weeks later they have a deal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's rare. I mean, everything has to line up perfect. And the approach that I'm taking, I understand that. I mean, I may get lucky and get a deal, you know, tomorrow, but I know in 60 days I will have a full pipeline coming in on a regular basis, just as long as I keep doing what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not rocket science. It's just consistency, isn't it? Repetition of the things that are working and keep doing it.
Yeah. And a lot of people, before they start seeing the fruits of the labor, they give up. They give up.
Yeah.
In that email that I sent, a lot of people tend to try and go online and find the perfect cold email template to use to send. And you just type how you talk and communicate with people, because if you go and find a template that's not your voice when you meet them, you know, just
well, there's a disconnect, isn't there? Because you've used the fake you, if you like, to get that connection, and then now it's you, and there's nothing there. There is no connection.
Right.
And that's why, again, just be yourself, guys. It's that simple. So you had a kind of an inkling of the market before, because of your background, so you kind of almost knew the sort of thing you were getting into. What would your advice be to somebody that's maybe watching this, doing some due diligence of, you know, lots of different online businesses, but specifically to brokering? What advice would you give them for starting out, to be aware? What sort of things should they be aware of?
Well, there's no such thing as a magic bullet that's going to get you rich overnight.
Yeah.
And that's all over the internet. You know, do this, and, you know, buy this blueprint, do this, or what have you. Just, you know, there's a lot of companies like your company, but they'll give you a link and send you out the door and just say good luck. You know, you can read on things like that. You know, your company provides a foundation of learning to where it gives you the knowledge to, when you are going out and meeting people, that you can at least talk the lingo. It kind of gives you a foot above the competition. Yeah, but that's what made me choose, you know, to go to work with Pro Commerce. It's
building in the right way, because there is only really a smart way to do this. You can go out there gung ho and try and be all things to all people, sell. You might make a little bit of money, but there's no real process process is probably the right way to do it, that you can replicate and be consistent with. But if you're willing to play the long game, and like you're doing now, you're in the foundation laying stage. But if you take the time to lay the right foundation that's solidly in place, there's no telling and that's what Mike said, the scale of this is ridiculous, how far you want it to go. Whereas what I see is, especially with a lot of these programs, because it's all about quick results, there's no time taken to lay this foundation. So you're trying to build on like quicksand. And this is what, again, to your point, most people give up and quit because they're not seeing results, but they're not actually taking the time to actually build the foundation. And that, in our world, is learning what you need to know, learning the products, being credible when you actually engage these different individuals, because especially when you're dealing with experienced investors, right, Mike, they know what they want. They're not stupid. They're not going to trust you with a deal if you're just coming across as some salesman that, you know, needs to go back to the lenders to ask questions on basic things. You need to be able to talk turkey to win that type of business. And so
One thing I would like to add also is when you and I first had a conversation, is how you were trying to take people that come on with your company, looking at like the fix and flips, the residential, and to me, there's so many companies out there that say, hey, we offer this whole gamut. We offer equipment financing. We offer this. We offer that, and this, that, and the other. You know, my recommendation would be to like pick your one niche. Like, I'm working with the commercial, the fix and flip residential, just staying in that niche. Because if you try and offer this whole portfolio of different things, like you go out and you tell people, oh, I can do it all. Well, somewhere out there, there's somebody that specializes in just equipment financing. You don't know it like that other person does. So, become an expert in the fix and flip market, the residential and the commercial space. I started reading a lot of books because I don't know commercial. So I started doing a lot of research on commercial. But just the great thing about hooking up with fix and flip investors is that's your steady, constant pipeline. They're always buying, they're always flipping. And in the residential mortgage space, when I used to help homeowners buy something, when they bought something, you wouldn't see them for another 7 years or so. You may get a referral from them, but investors, they're buying, flipping, they need another loan, and it just keeps going. And that's another thing that interested me when I spoke with you in the beginning.
Yeah, it's a really good point, because I think that the natural tendency is to try and be all things to all people. And there's that saying, isn't there, jack of all, master of none. And essentially that's what you become, because when you, if you want to be an expert in anything, I mean, even just learning the fix and flip market and the products, that takes time, that takes knowledge. So you've got that going on. If you're then offering equipment, that takes time, that takes knowledge. And you've got all these other things going on. You can't master all of that and become an expert. And the only way you're really going to get meaningful traction is by being the expert. I mean, and this isn't just a loan broker. This is just a life thing. This is a business thing. So the understanding of inch wide, mile deep will actually give you more success or more opportunity for success, if you like, than a mile wide, inch deep, because there's no substance behind what you're offering. And then back to the point, you cannot lay a foundation to build on if you're offering all things to all people, because you've got to consider, again, Mike's approach. It's very specific to his audience, very, very specific. You only have so many hours in a day. So you've got to understand that your time is valuable and it's an investment. And Mike's making these investments with his time, knowing that will pay him back. But if you're spread everywhere, you have no ability to do the same sort of things that Mike's doing. So I'm really pleased you brought that up, because it's such a really important point for people when they're starting out. Just focus on one area. If it's going to be equipment finance, then that's what you do. You become the equipment finance person. And it doesn't mean that that's all you do forever. It's just nail down that market, become the brand in that market, and then you can diversify. And you might diversify, in your case, Mike, you might bring on more people. We're talking about you becoming a coach as an example. It doesn't necessarily mean to be you that does all these things. You can bring other people on that then become the expert within that niche, and they then work under the brand of Mike Davis. So it's about taking your time, taking it seriously, not expecting to become a millionaire overnight, and just doing the right things consistently every single day. What would you say are the bad points of this profession, if you've encountered any, if you can think of any?
The definite bad part is just the upstart. There's no gratification out of the gate.
Yeah.
And it's, but me being in sales for over 15 years, commission only, I mean, I'm used to it. I understand it, but I understand that everything that I'm doing right now, is it will pay dividends in several months. But where people mess up in this kind of thing, they'll get a big paycheck, they celebrate it, and that's why this market has the peaks and valleys.
Yes.
We get this big check and the big payday, and then people maybe take a week off with the marketing and things like that, and you won't see it at that moment, but a month down the road is when your valley is going to hit.
Yeah. So. Yeah. You're always playing forward, aren't you? That's the thing. It's like what you do today, if you like, doesn't necessarily pay you back for another month or so's time. Right. The relationships, the meetings you're having, there's no immediate return on that, but it will happen, as you say, So we've covered the entry point, we've covered the bad points, we've covered the strategy that you're employing, which is absolutely the strategy that we encourage everybody, and our program is kind of designed for that. Now, it may be, guys, that you're watching this, you think, well, I'm not good enough to, you know, essentially go and knock on doors and meet people face to face. So it doesn't mean you can't do this for success, and it doesn't mean you can't do that at a point in the future. What would you suggest, Mike, if somebody is that kind of character, maybe they've never done that sort of stuff before? How do they still kind of get into this and make something of it? If you can answer that question.
Are you meaning like more of an introvert?
Yeah, like an introverted character, yeah. Because you don't need to be extrovert to do this stuff, do you?
You don't need to be extrovert. I mean, it helps to fake it until you make it. That's for sure. In my opinion. Yeah. But no, you can definitely. I mean, you can eventually be successful with this sitting behind a computer if you want. It's all, but still, you have to like get on LinkedIn or the Facebook, like what you guys and your coaching, doing the email data, you know, the mining. Because we can, the great thing about this business is, you know, I can do business with someone in California from here in Maryland where I'm at. Then they'll never meet me. So you do not have to be local to the market, but it does help, like to touch on what you were talking earlier about becoming an expert in whether it's equipment financing or real estate. You want to be that person where other people email you or text you because you're the expert and they've got questions and maybe they run into a problem with the deal and they know that Mike can answer that question or walk through that. But if you're offering all these different programs, you're not going to be the expert or the go-to person in that field. So
yeah, right. And that's actually another sort of business 101 thing is differentiation. There are tons and tons and tons of brokers out there. And the great thing about it for us actually is that a really easy way to differentiate is specialization, because everyone's doing the same stuff. Everyone's trying to be everything to all people. And so that, to Mike's point, there's no reason for anyone to reach out to Mike if he's doing and saying the same stuff everybody else is doing. If he's the expert, of course, that's where it starts to happen. So I think just to wrap this up, guys, it's just play the long game. Be a consultant, don't be a salesperson, and really don't follow the advice of the gurus out there. There's no quick win to this stuff. You've got to take it seriously. It's a real profession and it's a real business. And, you know, if you're looking for the kind of the shiny object things and done for you kind of things that you know, do affiliate marketing or something like that, this is not what that is about. This is a real profession. And if you don't take it seriously like that, then you really won't succeed anyway, you know. Mike, anything to say just to wrap up for anybody watching?
Just encouragement, just stick with it, whether you're just email databasing or, you know, cold calling or what. Just if you just keep doing the things that you guys teach, I mean, there'll be a payday out there. And when you do get that payday, don't stop doing what you were doing to get that payday, because that's where I would say that's where probably 90% of the people mess up. Is they do great, get the paycheck, then they stop doing what they did to make the paycheck. And that's why you hear so many people talk about this business up and down and complaining about being in commission sales. Yeah, it's like a roller coaster ride, isn't it? You know, 1 month you're up, 1 month you're down. And it's managing or what do I say? Building the pipeline and keeping your pipeline consistent is everything. And if all you did is that, the rest of it happens by default anyway. And when some people see, oh gosh, I've got, you know, 10 people in my pipeline, it's going great, I'm going to take off next week or what have you. Can't do that. That's what causes the peaks and valleys. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Mike, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Guys, just to wrap this up, obviously we have a training program. If you want to talk to us about that, there's a link in the description. We've actually got a free training where we walk you through how it all works. So if you can watch that first and then you want to talk to us, book a call. And you've probably got the gist here. We aren't selling training. We do not sell to you. It's a conversation. We get to know you. We explain everything about how this works. And really, if there's a meeting of minds, it's a pretty obvious yes. And if it's not, that's okay too. You know, we're not selling anything. So with that said, guys, hope you've enjoyed this. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you. How are you finding the market in terms of where you're going? Are you seeing, you know, investors leaving the market? You know, because the economic conditions I'm following very closely in the States as well as obviously here, and it just seems to be what you see on the mainstream news is a lot of kind of fear mongering and stuff. And I'm trying to understand what are the practicalities of that
in terms of our world, and how is that affecting us? I mean, are you seeing any changes coming or happening that's maybe costing deals or anything like that?
Well, the couple that I have in the pipeline, I'm seeing, of course, people are starting to get rate conscious.
Yeah.
Which is hurting them because they're shopping around, and as they're shopping, the rates are going up.
Yeah.
But yet you don't want to come across desperate and be like, hey, you need to do something now. You need to do something now, because that comes across kind of salesy. But yeah, so I'm running into that with those three that I have in the pipeline right now. We started off giving him quotes last week. His scores dropped. Now he's shopping some more, and he's going to end up, hurting himself. But
have you explained that to him though?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
You told him that what you're doing is going to cause this.
Yeah, by phone and by email.
Yeah.
And but still, I'm still coming across more of as a consultant and not.
Yeah, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
With these, I mean, you probably know this, but this happened when COVID first hit. Everything was just like amazing, and all of a sudden it just went crash. And everyone's adjusting everything, and the rates changed, and you get that. You have this transitional period for the investors to just kind of realize the reality shifted.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got that now. So one of the things that I always do, and I kind of advise, is what you're doing is just be truthful. Like you say, don't be salesy, maintain that consultant approach, explain the truth of what's going to happen. And what you'll find is that they inevitably understand that truth, and then they'll come back because everybody else is doing the salesy thing.
Right.
And in all of that noise, if you like, you're the only person that's just told the truth, and the truth will always win. So, and I know you've definitely got the longer term game plan in mind. You can tell that with the way you're approaching everything, and that's why you're going to win, to be frank. So it's just keep playing the game. I think we're going to see a lot more adjustments as we go further into this economic crash, for want of a better word.
Right.
And you're going to get the same thing. So the main thing is really just, if you look at your kind of marketplace of investors, and let's just kind of broadly say, you've got inexperienced, semi-experienced, inexperienced. You probably want to keep away from the inexperienced crowd, because as this gets worse, they're just going to disappear because they're not going to be there with it. The kind of middle of the road guys, you'll notice the ones that are, let's say, the serious players, they're actually really good to play the long game with, because they'll remember you and they will become those kind of lifelong clients. And then it's also about positioning with the experienced crowd, because a lot of, you're probably having these conversations now, but a lot of them know what's coming, and they're kind of eagerly awaiting that change for when they can kind of come in and sweep up.
Yeah.
When property prices start to get affected, So it's just play strategically, play the long game, be smart about it, and ultimately you'll win. Because the other thing that's going to happen with this stuff is that a lot of these brokers, they're also going to die by the wayside. It's just kind of it's the strong survive, the weak don't, right? And it's those that have got the mindset to persevere and see what's really going on and ride that out, versus those that will just quit. So I always look at these times as great opportunities. I learned my lessons through the 08 crash, so I'm just kind of, I
went through that. When I had my real estate mortgage and insurance company, I went through the 2008 also. Right.
And I don't know but for me, I was very ignorant to everything at that time. I was one of those that just thought the good days were always going to be there. This was just amazing. It was just going to continue, and it bit me in the arse, massively. And I always, from that point on, I just made a point of that will never hit me again like that. I will always be paying attention to what's really happening. So that if we're positioned and we can navigate that storm properly, we come out the other side smiling, while everybody else, unfortunately, is going to pay the price for that ignorance.
Yeah, that's what I had done too. We had grew into two markets, and we weren't really, we just thought it was going to be sunshine and rainbows, and in 2008 it really changed things for us, right?
Yeah, crazy times, but